Director Hammerson, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Well, welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. Those are in person and online. This is the October 11th business meeting of the directors of Roseburg Public Schools. Just a couple reminders. Our meetings are on Zoom and are taped. And so sometime tomorrow, this meeting will be archived along with many of our meetings that go back several years. And I think it's important to know that if you have a student or down the road, a student who's getting recognized or a staff member, and a grandma or grandpa can't make it because they're out of town, you should let them know about the Zoom meeting so they can zoom in and watch it. It's pretty cool. We will have public participation tonight. And so if you're wanting to speak to the board, the back table, there's some pins, there's some cards that you will need to fill out and drop into the basket. And as we get closer to public participation, a reminder, you'll get 2 minutes. So kind of start planning the 2 minutes because it goes by pretty fast. Director Krimitz has been excused for tonight, and I hope she's having a good time. I'd like to thank Principal Hanson and her staff for hosting us tonight. And I'd like to thank our district staff for getting this meeting prepared. All of our business meetings are out in the field, which is kind of nice for the community. And I'd like to start, where is Matt Hill here? He's hiding. We want to thank Matt for getting all this new technology set up so you folks can hear us and what's going on. So let's move, have Principal Hanson come up and tell us a little bit about your school. And thank you for the tour today.
You are welcome.
We enjoyed that.
So my name is Katrina Hanson, and I am the principal here at Fir Grove. This is my third year at Fir Grove. I was at Fullerton 4 for 9 years before that, and Fremont Middle School as the assistant principal for 4 years. So welcome to Fir Grove. Thank you for being here. Next slide. So our Fir Grove vision has stood the test of time. Dr. Weber, when she was principal here, crafted this vision with her team. A couple of years ago, we took a look at our vision. We thought we might try to update it, and we found that our vision still stands. And so we are carrying that on. And that we connect our work to the strategic plan regularly, and I'm grateful and thankful for the work that you guys have done in helping create that. It really helps align our district, and it helps align our school. We reference it often. So thank you for the work that you have done on the strategic plan. Okay, so a little bit about us. We have about 270 students. We have 55 staff members. We have 2 teachers at every grade level. We service, we have the Developmental Learning Center. That was one of the rooms that we went through. It serves our most profound needs in our district, students with the most profound needs. We also have the Complex Needs Classroom, which is an ESD program. So those are some of the classrooms that we have. Some work that we did last year was we came up with an acronym for our school, and so we are Falcons and we soar to success. SOAR standing for strength, optimism, adaptability, and respect. And we talk about it every morning in our morning announcements. And it is just a way to reflect our vision and continue that work with our kids. Next slide. So these are the results from our state assessments last year. And it's humbling to share this with this group, just as it was humbling to share it with our families and with our staff. But you know, our staff works hard, our kids work hard. But this is where we are. So we had 39% of our students passing our ELA, the English Language Arts Assessment last year, grades 3, 4, and 5. And we had 27% passing our math. So our goals this year, we want 44% passing ELA, and we want 31% passing math, and 25% passing our science. We are doing a lot of work in aligning our thinking, coming up with common goals vertically. So K-5, trying to figure out what are some skills that we can do and work with our kids so that they build the confidence and have the knowledge to be successful and graduate high school ultimately. So these are our results from our state assessment. So our regular attenders last year, that means that our students attending more than 90% of the school year. So we only had 53% attending 90% or more of the school year last year, meaning that only 53% of our students missed 17 days or less. So this year I am working hard to communicate that with our families, kind of have some reminders in my regular newsletters. I share kind of what our weekly update is. So currently we have 70% of our students attending 90% or more of the school year. So we are ahead, and my goal is to keep it that way. So, all right, next slide. So other unique qualities of our school. One thing to consider, but it definitely does not define who we are. 94% of our students live in poverty here at Fir Grove. So it qualifies us to receive Title I services, which provides supports for reading instruction, math instruction, family connection activities. So we've done different things. We've done a game week. We've done a literacy night, math night. So those are some things that we're going to continue to do. My goal is, well, I'll talk about it in a little bit, but so just building those connection activities. 25% of our students are receiving special education services or are on a 504. We do have currently less than 1% of our students identified as TAG. However, I anticipate that we are going to find more of our students. We are working on an achievement test for our second graders and fourth graders to find out, how many more of our students can qualify for TAG services, that TAG being talented and gifted. And we have less than 1% of our population receiving English language development services. So our after school activities, we've got a choir club, we have robotics, we have a PE club, which will be second semester, we have a garden club, and then we have booster club activities. So carnival, they've done a movie night, they've done a dance. So just different activities that pull our community together. And then, so our goals this year, our continuous improvement plan, we have kind of gone over this, and we want to raise our scores on our state assessment by 5%. We want to increase our regular attenders by 5%. Aligning those specific practices, like I talked about, of just, finding those skills that we can work on with our kiddos to help them be their most successful selves. By posting our learning targets, we are providing access to all of our students to be able to get context to the lesson. And then increasing our connection with families. So one of my goals this year, when we were able to kind of get back to kind of a normal setting, is to have a coffee with the principal opportunity at least 3 times this year, where I can bring families in and we can just have conversations about our great school. So that is my presentation. Thank you so much for coming. Any questions?
Yeah, I just don't want to assume anything, but the low test scores, what do you attribute that to?
Well, that's a great question. Yeah, I think Fir Grove has been at a place where we score very high on our state assessments. The state assessments have changed a little bit over time. So we are adapting to that. I think COVID, has a part in that. And but we are working hard and just having the conversations and being as transparent as we can about the data. So
So is there anything being done about the low attendance? I mean, if they're not coming, their scores are going to be low. So is there anything that you're doing or that we can do to boost that up? Is it just because of the low income area families aren't actively involved? What's causing this?
So I think part of it is with COVID, we encouraged our families to keep, we wanted our children to be healthy and safe. And so there was the kind of push at the beginning of, if you're not feeling well, these are the symptoms we're looking for. If you have those symptoms, we need to stay home. And so now we're transitioning back to, we need to be here at school. We've gone through that phase. And so we make phone calls, we send letters. I do send a newsletter. This year, I've sent one almost every week. And I do have the attendance piece in there. Just trying to encourage folks to come to school.
So this 47%, when was this?
This is from last year.
This is last year.
Mhm.
Okay, so then we're still dealing with the COVID stuff. So this year, is there any sign of it being better?
Well, so right now we're at 70% of our students are attending 90% or more.
Oh, great.
So, and that's kind of the weekly update that I'm calculating and providing for families. So, and celebrating. So yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that explains a lot.
Okay. Great questions. Thank you.
On your goal, are you going to increase it 5 percentage point or 5%?
So we had 39% of our students passing the English
So you
language
raise that to
arts.
44.
So now I want to raise that to 44%.
The
So
difference between 5 percentage point increase and 5% increase.
you're right.
Another question here on, Title I services. What does that mean? Is that money?
So we
Or-
do have funds that come that are provided to us. So I have a learning specialist and staff that work with her to provide reading instruction, math when we are able, to our students that are struggling, that are not at benchmark. And she works in collaboration with our special education teacher as well, and our whole team. And then there's money for family engagement. So that's where we had the family game week, or we did a school-wide book club, or a literacy night, a math night. So getting our community engaged and connected with us at Fir Grove.
One more question.
Yeah.
You had mentioned celebration concerning the attendance, that's what you celebrate. So do you actually have, what is your plan for that? Is it like a pizza party, or, what fun activities that make the kids really get on board with this?
So that is something we're still working on. I don't have specific things that I'm working on, but I'm sending that communication out. We do have a team that we focus on celebrating kids in different ways, our PBIS team. But I think that ultimately I would love to do, our attendance awards at the end of the year, potentially. Pizza party sounds great. So there's lots of options. We just have to kind of come together, collaborate, and determine what we want to do. Still a work in progress.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One about your presentation, and then something about what's going on out front.
Okay.
You've heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to raise a child. And we really need to get back to this. Our staff works so hard. And we've designed to have the principals speak at the beginning of the meeting. So we have a full room. Because I want people to hear, we need the community to hear what's going on in our school. And we're celebrating that 70% of our kids are coming to school 90% of the time. And that's an improvement over last year. We really need our parents to step up. The ones where the kids aren't coming to school, they need to come to school, not when they're ill. I get that. But doggone it, it takes a village to raise a child. We can't give up on these kids. And I know our staff's not,
Right.
but the community can't. So I know how hard the staff works.
They do. They work really hard.
And there's a lot of challenges out there. And eventually we have to get over blaming COVID on everything. We know it's still there and it's still real. But we all need to make a commitment to get our kids to school. Second thing, so I've noticed the office is different. We took a tour, the office has been moved. What is going on out there? What's all the rebuild? What is that?
So that's our vestibule, our safety vestibule, so that single point entry. So all of our families, the community will enter in that front space. And we'll check in with the office assistant or office manager. And then they will be let through the door and they can go, wherever they need to go. But it gives us kind of a stop, welcome our families, but, also get their ID, check them in. So that's what's happening in the front. And we're getting a fence.
Getting a fence, and hopefully this will be completed shortly, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions for principal?
Yeah, I just wanted to commend you for the affirmation at the beginning of the day. Do you mind saying something a little bit about that? That part of the tour, we started the day in the breakfast / gymnasium area. And I just think that is really, to have all the kids get together and say, hey, we're going to have an optimistic day. We're going to have a productive day. We're going to learn. And we're all in this together. I think that was really, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for kids to say that to themselves. They need to love themselves. They need to feel like they belong. They need to feel safe and that they're problem solvers. And I think it is a great way to start the day. And it is my hope that, they do recall that. They do remember that through the day. I sent a survey out to my families, and of the people that have responded, more people have said that their child has not shared it, but there have been, my child has shared this in a positive way. My child has shared this in a negative way, neutral way, or my child hasn't shared this. And it's either positive or they haven't shared it. So I do think that it is impacting our kids and they can recite it. They feel good about that. So I think it's a great way to start the day.
Yeah, I just want to say for me, it's coffee, obviously. And you can't.
You might try it though.
Yeah, you
I
can't
am loved.
beat it's coffee. So thank you for providing the kids the spiritual coffee.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move into student representative reports. And when you speak, would you first introduce yourselves and make sure you get that microphone pretty close up to you. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm Sylvia Ekman, and I'm the vice president or the student body vice president at RHS. And then I have with me Annan Kohlberg, who is our treasurer and overall wonderful person. I just wanted to say about Fir Grove first. I loved hearing about it, and I'm also super impressed with the staff at Fir Grove. I know my orchestra director is your choir teacher. And I'm just like, wow, I know you have a great group of people here. And I also love the Cranes, but going back to the high school, it's been a super busy week on campus. Today we had the day of testing where Anna and I both took the PSAT or like the pre-SAT, and then seniors on campus took the ASVAB through the military, and then sophomores took the pre-ACT. This year was the first time that we had the pre-SAT offered digitally, and I know that it was definitely like a stressor, but it went super smoothly, and I would credit that all to the hard work of the librarians and staff of the Career Center. Tomorrow we're also hosting the Douglas County College Fair, where over 50 college representatives are going to be there to meet with students from around the county. So a bunch of high school students from our high school, but also students like from Geneva Academy and Sutherland, and just it's going to be a great experience, I think. And then along with college or in the same theme, we've been signing up for dual enrollment classes through UCC in Southern Oregon this month. And then also students are signing up for advanced placement tests this month, also to receive college credit. And I know we're offering college credit in classes from like childhood development to Spanish. So it's like a whole range, which is super impressive. And then we have gap exchange students from Germany staying on campus, and they're super fun. They're staying with students from Frau Taylor's German classes. And then also on the lines of construction, like single point entry, the construction in our front office is finishing up, and it's looking super cool and high tech, fancy. And then we also have a new bell system, and it's a lot more accurate and also sounds kind of fun, which is super nice. And then moving on to sports.
Alrighty, and I'm Annan Kohlberg, and I am the ASB treasurer. Okay, for sports, fall teams are in their last 2 weeks of regular competition before getting ready for their postseasons. Our volleyball team is ranked second in the conference and it's really well, a younger group of players this year. The varsity football team has their last home game next week for homecoming week. Cross country is hosting a home meet on next Wednesday and has over 1,000 athletes from across the Pacific Northwest signed up to race. Mrs. Gwen Bartlett is passing the baton of head track coach to Mr. Nathan Ekman, and we are super grateful for both of them. Girls soccer tied their home game against Willamette this Saturday, and they will have a senior night on the 21st.
Like we can all tell that our athletes are super busy. And then going back to leadership personally, we have been super busy prepping for homecoming week. The events we put on during homecoming week range from a class hall decorating contest, powder puff, lunchtime activities like bingo and cornhole, dress up days, the crowning of the homecoming queen and king, a school-wide assembly, and a dance. So this year we're introducing 2 new traditions to our homecoming week, which are a class competition where every grade will be competing for a trophy and some bragging rights. Classes will be earning points throughout all the week in all the events I just mentioned, hopefully to encourage like more participation and going back to like pride. And then the school recently elected a homecoming senior court, and another new addition of like traditions, prince and princesses of each grade were also elected. And then finally, something unrelated to homecoming, we have been super lucky with this year's administrative team, like getting to know them. It's been super wonderful. And we've also loved working with our new overseeing administrator, Mrs. Ashley Fisk. She's just been wonderful. And then
Alrighty, and closing it up, the whole campus is looking forward to homecoming week with lots of ways to be involved. It's going to be a great week to remember. We have had a super start to both the athletic and academic school year and cannot wait to see what the second quarter and playoff season will bring.
thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that. So now we get to move into the really fun part of the meeting. We're going to recognize 3 students tonight, and Director Shirtcliffe, it's all yours.
All right, this day's Student Achievement Awards, we're gonna start off with right here from Fir Grove Elementary, Sophia Smith. Come on up. Everybody up.
Bring them all up.
Congratulations.
Everybody.
And these are- Yep. You know these are here? Certificate. And nobody knows what these are? McDonald's gift certificate for you too. And everybody climb on in here. I'll get out of your way. Do this. Keep kicking stuff until I finally get out of the way. All right. That's all right. Sophia is in 5th grade here at Fir Grove Elementary. She has been selected to represent this month's Student of the Month for a variety of reasons. Academically, she is always on task and puts forth great work, but it is in her character that makes her stand out amongst her peers. She exemplifies discipline, tenacity, determination, integrity, and respect. She is a great example to the other students and has a natural leadership qualities. She shows up every day with a smile on her face and a positive attitude. The best thing about Sophia is her ability to brighten up and elevate the mood of the room. Her class and school are better with Sophia there. Congratulations, Sophia. Our next award goes from Jolene Middle School, Olivia Shirtcliffe. Award in your McDonald's gift certificate. Congratulations. If anybody didn't know, this is my daughter. All right. Although our school year has just begun, Olivia has shown just what it takes to be a student who is willing to go above and beyond in the classroom. She is a sweet young lady who comes to school with a smile and a willingness to learn. She doesn't demand attention, but works diligently and turns in quality work. Olivia is polite, respectful, and seeks to find ways to help others find success. She actively participates in class and brings conversations that richly enhance classroom learning. There have been occasions when Olivia's light side is revealed, and you can tell she has a great sense of humor, along with respect. Her brilliance is undeniable and her potential is limitless. She will undoubtedly radically transform the world for the better. Congratulations, Olivia. And finally, from Roseburg High School, we have Christina Lai Ying Chi. What's up? The McDonald's gift card. And I'll get out of the way. Cheerful, kind, humble, inquisitive, outgoing, hardworking, and determined. These are just a few of the affirmations that Christina's teachers flowered on her as she was nominated for Student of the Month. Christina is, quite frankly, the real deal. Her schedule this year would make Da Vinci sweat. She is enrolled in AP Lit, AP Calc, AP Gov, Speech, Mock Trial, and College Credit Fine Arts 2. She is also a valued member of FBLA, NHS, and Astor Club, and unlike Da Vinci, she finishes everything that she starts. Christina's teachers say her patience and willingness to push herself is unmatched. She comes to class every day prepared and willing to learn. And she is a diligent volunteer who always puts others above herself. Congratulations, Christina.
Okay, now Director Howard Johnson is going to get up and he has the pleasure of presenting 3 Crystal Apple Award winners tonight.
It is a magnificent honor to pass out these Crystal Apple Awards. And let's see if I can find the right one. The first honoree tonight is from Fir Grove Elementary School, our librarian, Tracy Clement. Bring all your family and friends out. Let me share with you what was given to me about you. Tracy Clemens has been the Fir Grove librarian for 2 years, but it feels like she's been a part of the Falcon family for much longer. She brings with her a natural skill of connecting with kids and adults while also creating a welcome environment in the school community. She is quick to assist others with a moment's notice and find ways to support the academic growth of all kids through her library lessons. She is a critical resource for assisting with technical difficulties and finds creative and efficient ways to resolve any issues that come her way. We are grateful for Mrs. Clemens and what she brings to the Fir Grove Elementary. And her Crystal Apple Award says, Tracy Clemens, librarian, Fir Grove Elementary, your dedication, love for kids, and connection with others is such a gift to the Fir Grove community. Congratulations. Take a picture. Nobody in this picture too? Super. Got it. Thank you. Our next honoree is also from Fir Grove, Val Titus, the 4th grade teacher. We need instructions on how to do all this, right? It is an honor. Mrs. Val Titus has been a 1st grade and 4th grade teacher at Fir Grove, and we're very grateful that she has been chosen our district to cultivate her career as an educator. As the grade level math teacher, she brings a genuine love of her content to daily lessons and organized consistent routines to the classroom while keeping an eye on the ease of access, that is information, material, and movement around the room. Additionally, Mrs. Titus is an incredible resource for the Fir Grove community as she is gifted in solving technological problems and providing guidance and support to those around her. We are fortunate to have her as a Fir Grove Falcon. And your Crystal Apple Award says, Val Titus, 4th grade teacher, Fir Grove Elementary, you are a gifted problem solver, educator, trusted confidant, and leader. Congratulations. Take your time. Thank you. We are honored tonight to introduce from Nutrition Services, Liz Elder. I don't know whether you folks noticed or not, but the cook got a lot more people here. We love our food. Let me share. Liz has worked diligently serving students in the Roseburg School District for the past 21 years. Her love for serving students and staff is something to be admired. She comes to work each day and every day with a can-do attitude to do whatever it takes to get the kids fed. Whether it is extracurricular event such as a fine dining or future chef, Liz is always there with a smile and willing to help. She is always willing to help other kitchens and assist with anything in the department. We thank you, Liz, for all that you do to make nutrition services in the district the best it can be. Congratulations. And your Crystal Apple Award says, Liz Elder, Food Service Lead, Hillcrest Elementary, reliable, diligent, passionate, and caring. Picture time.
Steal this.
Okay, everybody in present? Okay. No. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then one more. Okay, great.
Let's have a round of applause for all of our students and staff. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited that each of you took part of your time to come out tonight to be with us. But at this time, we have concluded the family activities. And if you would like to depart and go home, be safe, have a great weekend, and thank you for coming. God bless. A brief recess. Very good. Hmm?
Thank you for doing it.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah.
Way to go. Yeah. Okay. You like a rich one? Okay. It looks like she's, look at she's on there.
Form says you're gonna, or report you're gonna pass. Can I see the, because I need to, yeah, because I can't remember the number.
All right.
So just one of them. Thank you. Couple more minutes.
I think, yeah. Christine. Okay, they're grabbing that thing.
Super.
Oh, where did you go?
Step one, step two,
I can see that.
step three.
She can shut that door. Yeah. Should we have her shut the door? Katrina, listen. When you shut that door,
Okay, we'll resume our meeting. This is time for public participation. And just a couple, see you in my office tomorrow. Just a couple housekeeping rules. When you get 2 minutes to speak, we've set aside 20 minutes during the meeting for public participation. We have in person and online. If you haven't filled out a card, that is closed. And we just ask that you be responsible and respectful to everybody in the room and online when you speak. Assistant Superintendent Nee will run, there'll be a 2-minute timer that will,
Geez, thank you for the reminder. Put
Will
the
there be,
timer up
or-
there. I can get it. up
okay,
there.
there'll be a 2-minute timer on the monitor. And when the 2 minutes is up, we would appreciate that you wrap it up. And so the next person can come forward. So I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Nee.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the reminder about the timer. I will get that shared right now. If anyone online would like to participate in public participation, please use the raise your hand feature. And hopefully I can find the timer. Come up, there it is. Excuse. Need to change the time. We're having a day. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I've got my timer going. I can do math. All right, we have Yuri Vincent. Come on up.
I'm assuming I need to say my name and address and everything for the record. Yep.
Yes, please.
My name is Yuri Vincent. I live on 547 Northwest Winchester Street here in Roseburg. I grew up here in Roseburg. I served in the Oregon National Guard. I just recently moved back about 3 years ago now. I was living in Medford for some time. Tonight, I bring to your awareness board. First of all, Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the board, I appreciate this time. I would challenge that we change the agenda format so that the room full of parents and extended staff could also hear what's going on in the classroom from the parents' perspective. As it was stated that it's important for us to hear what the principal had to say. I apologize, I'm having technical difficulties because I want to quote something. I'll bring it off of my memory. Tonight, I'm bringing to our awareness the Great Body Shop, specifically lesson 4. I spoke about this last year at a board meeting, and I know that we have new board members. So this evening, I'm just bringing to your attention the Great Body Shop. I received a letter home that said, hey, would you like to opt out of any of this curriculum? And I looked into the curriculum. Lesson 3 was what we're teaching right now. We are on lesson 305, if I remember correctly. Again, my phone died. And that's about the eyes. That's wonderful. But lesson 4 is what I have contention with. You can look up on Google the sensitive information with regards to the Great Body Shop, and there's a PDF that will tell you bullet point which topics are of contention, specifically with sensitive material. What is that sensitive material? First of all, lesson 4 has a title that we would opt out of. It says, my family, your family. That's a great platitude, but what does that mean? In the definition of the curriculum, what it means is that they're going to teach sexual orientation. What it means is that they're going to teach children how to identify adults, parents, teachers, and community members. And these are the words in the profile that that they can identify adults on how to have conversations about their sexual orientation and identity. And I just would like to bring that to your awareness that I don't believe that that is a place in the school. And I think it opens up liability issues with the school and children having sexual conversations at the grade of 3. So thank you for your time.
I thank you. I also wanted to let the folks know, other than, coming to a board meeting to speak, and you can also contact the district and our individual board member via our email at school district emails.
Correct. And if
So,
anybody would like to contact me, I can give you my contact information after this meeting as well.
Thank you.
That's it. Nobody online.
All right, we will now move into the review of agenda, communications to the board.
Appreciate that, Board Chair. There are two items on the second page of your board agenda in red that note changes from the last time we sent the agenda out. The first item is, you'll notice resolution 2324-9, which is the designation of American Education Week. That's been added to this business meeting now. Because of our 1 week in November board meeting, the American Education Week is November 13th through the 17th. Yes, we are in October, but we put that in the agenda to acknowledge that tonight because our next board meeting will be in the middle of that week. And then the second item is Michelle's going to talk tonight about Division 22 standards. That was previously down as an action item that's been changed to report, which is what it is. Thank you. Okay. And also just on terms of communications, I will acknowledge that Director Krim is actually on a cruise somewhere and she's joining us here on Zoom. So if you can hear me, Director Krimitz, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, directors, we're going to move into the approval of the consent agenda. So I'll need a motion and a second.
I move to approve the consent agenda as it is presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Okay, let's call for the motion or for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay. Our next resolution is resolution 2324-9, designation of American Education Week. We'll need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve resolution 23-24-9.
Have a motion and second. Any discussion? So I'm going to read this, but I'll wait till after the vote. So let's take the vote. All in favor? Okay. And like superintendent said, it's not until November 13th through the 17th, and we have a work session in 2 weeks, and then we only have one board meeting in November, and it's in the middle of the special week. So we'll, at that time, once again, we'll acknowledge that. But I think this is so important. Our staff works so hard that this should be read, and then we will all sign the resolution along with the superintendents. This is resolution 2324-9. Whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our national's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality. And whereas by equipping young Americans with both practical skills and broader intellectual abilities, schools give them hope for and access to a productive future. And whereas education employees, be they custodians or teachers, bus drivers or librarians, work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. And whereas schools are community linchpins, bringing together adults and children, educators and volunteers, business leaders and elected officials in a common enterprise. Now, therefore, we, the Douglas County School District Number 4 Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim November 13th through the 17th, 2023 as the 102nd, it's a long time, annual observance of American Education Week. I think that deserves a round of applause. And before you leave tonight, please stop by Janet and make sure this gets signed. Okay, we're going to move into reports, and Assistant Superintendent Lee, you get to enlighten us on Division 22 standards.
Thank you. This report is the Division 22 standards assurances for the 22-23 school year. Just to let you know what the Division 22 standards are. I won't go into the specifics of every Oregon administrative rule, but these are a set of rules that are in Chapter 581, Division 22. It's the standards for public elementary and secondary schools. And they're the standards that the Oregon legislature or the state board has determined must be met in order to be a standard school district. And in compliance with these rules ensures a baseline level of service across the state. So every school district in the state of Oregon is required to do this report and to report if they are in compliance with these standards every year. So this is the report for the 22-23 school year. If I can get my computer to move. Here it goes. All right, Division 22 standards include over 50 rules. So every year we have to ensure that we are in compliance with all 50 rules. They fall into these categories: teaching and learning, curriculum and instruction, assessment, program and service requirements, as well as our high school diploma requirements, health and safety rules, policies and practices, athletics and interscholastic activities, also district performance and accountability, and then human resources and staffing. Just a quick snapshot of some of the things that are included in these rules. Under curriculum and instruction, it's required instructional time, rules around curriculum adoption, as well as comprehensive school counseling. So the requirements of what school counseling needs to look like in our buildings. Also, assessment of state administration of state assessments. So are we administering all of the required assessments that come from ODE? Identification of our talented and gifted students, as well as the credit options that are provided at our high school. Around health and safety, we have to make sure that our Every Student Belongs policy is in place, which our board does have that in our board policies. We have to have our suicide prevention plan, which is available on our website for families and the public to access. And then we also have to look at safety of school sports, so specifically around concussions. We have to make sure we have a proper complaint procedure as a district, that we do fingerprint-based background checks for human resources, and also that we have teachers trained related to dyslexia in our K-5 schools. What are the requirements of each rule? Just to give you an idea, at the top, it's the rules at a glance summary, which provides a high-level summary of each rule. If you want some really wonderful reading, you can read the entire Division 22 OER. It also has the Secretary of State's Oregon Administrative Rules database, so you can consult the text of the OER for all of the specific details for each one of the 50 rules. And then there's also a newsletter from the division from ODE regarding Division 22, and that comes out as a biannual publication that highlights anything that's new, may have changed, or clarification on rules. So what are the Division 22 standards assurances? This is a combined accountability model. So districts have to report annually on compliance with each of the standards and include an explanation and corrective action plan for any rule for which the district is out of compliance. This gives local accountability. Districts have to report to their local school board by November 1st. That's why we are here tonight to have this meeting. And I have to make the report available on the district website by November 1st. It is already on our website. And then the state accountability, I have to submit these assurances to ODE by November 15th. ODE will review all the submissions and follow up with the districts if there's anything that districts are out of compliance with. Division 22 standards and assurance of compliance. It signals our commitment to providing high quality educational experience and equitable opportunities for all of our students. But this articulates the floor of the education to be provided to students, not the ceiling. So we need to be in compliance, but then we need to shoot for being above that. Assurance process offers an opportunity for districts not in compliance to reflect on areas in need of attention and receive technical assistance from ODE. What happens if the district is out of compliance? I did leave this slide in here. We as a district are not out of compliance with any of our assurances. We're in compliance with all 50 rules. But in the event that a district is not in compliance, ODE reviews a corrective action plan. So the district provides a corrective action plan to ODE. ODE either approves or rejects it. And then the district works through that approved plan. And then ODE specialists come in for support if needed, with the goal that you need to be in compliance by the beginning of the next school year. So our report for the 22-23 school year, just to let you know a few of the things, there are 2 waivers for last year's Division 22 standards. One is the waiver for essential skills graduation requirement. This has been waived. This goes back to COVID when that waiver started. Students graduating in 22-23 and 23-24 school years. But we still have the local performance assessments requirement. So there are still local assessments the students have to complete in order to graduate, as well as all of the credit expectations for students to receive a high school diploma. The other part that has been waived is the PE data collection. This was suspended last year, but we will be required to start submitting that data again for the 23-24 school year. Rules that were new in 22-23, there is an agreement entered into with voluntary organizations. This has to do with interscholastic activities. So any voluntary organization that we enter into an agreement with that has to do with interscholastic activities, that organization has to adopt and implement policies prohibiting discrimination, and then also maintain a complaint process with sanctions and administer an annual survey. And then also, this is not a new requirement, and that we've always been required to do operational plans for quite some time, but now it is included in our Division 22 standards. And those we must submit to the department a plan for operation during the 22-23 school year. That was submitted in August for our district. So Roseburg Public Schools is in compliance with all Division 22 standards for the 22-23 school year. Looking ahead to compliance for the 23-24 school year, which is the school year we're in right now. Here are some new things. They did change some physical education requirements. And this was for 6th through 8th grade. Previously, the time requirement was 225 minutes every week for middle school students. That has been changed to a new weekly minimum of 150 minutes. And is calculated as an average over the duration of the school year. This provision went into effect on July 1st of 2023. Also, a new requirement is health services. This was last revised in 1996. So they went in and updated the rule. Much of the rules language has been updated to reflect learning from the last 3 years of school operations and to bring the rule into alignment with current statutes and rules. This will be in effect for the 23-24 academic year, but we will first report in November of 2024. There's a few potential rule changes that are on the horizon that the State Board of Education may be adopting at their October meeting. That meeting has not taken place yet. So right now we need to share them as potential changes that may be happening. They are proposing the extension of the suspension of the assessment of essential skills graduation requirement through 27-28. And they're also proposing adding the Menstrual Dignity Act for students as a Division 22 requirement. And that is the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir, Director Minor. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so going back to compliance,
Uh-huh.
just to know how they work.
Mhm.
So we present our report to ODE, and we say that we are in compliance. My
Mhm.
question is, do they ever come out and audit? Do they look for themselves? Where are the checks and balances that
Yeah.
the school district could say?
Absolutely.
we're on?
There is periodic monitoring, and that can be, it's not on a schedule. So it can be random that you are chosen to be monitored. We have that for quite a few of our federal programs as well. We just went through title monitoring last year. So we do know that at any time, ODE could come in and ask for the proof. So I have a whole spreadsheet, and we go through and we have to put in there what documentation we have, what policies it attaches to. And so there is a whole spreadsheet that I complete every year to show we're in compliance.
I'm sorry. Can I explain that? What is that?
Or you probably have Cheryl can help you with that one as well. Menstrual Dignity Act was passed by the legislature. In a nutshell, it provides menstrual products in all bathrooms in the school district. And that is a requirement of every school district. That's the law that was passed, and now ODE is considering putting that as part of our Division 22 requirements.
Okay, I have a question about the essential skills graduation requirements. It sounds like the state's lowering the bar. Does that
to
mean
that
that
one?
we have to lower the bar locally? I mean, it
Yes.
says that this is the baseline. We don't have to
So
abide by their lowering the bar,
we
right?
haven't lowered the bar. So the essential skills was a requirement that was added in addition to meeting the credit requirements and course requirements in the school that could be met by a variety of ways. Could be passing a certain score on your SAT or pre-SAT. It could be that you are meeting a certain score on the state assessments. It could be done by work samples. But I assure you, in our high school, we meet all those high rigorous standards within the course. And when they earn those grades, we're meeting those same level. We also continue to do local performance assessments. So students are doing writing performance tasks that we grade on using the state scoring guide. We do that in math. We do the speaking. We're doing all the same. It's just not attached to diploma. But in my time, and I think Mr. Vickery would agree, we never had one student who did not meet the requirements for essential skills. Students who didn't graduate on time was more likely to be a credit rather than the essential skills. So I stand very strong that our diploma means a lot with or without those essential skill requirements.
Thank you.
And so, okay. Wake up here, Rod. Let's move on to Dr. Jill Weber. You're going to talk to us about the school report card.
Yeah, our state shares a school and district report card every year, and it will be coming out later this month. So we thought going through what you can expect to see on the report card would be valuable today. So what I'm going to share with you is not our district or school report cards, but it's a sample so that we can go through what will be found on there. So when we get our report cards, you know what to be looking for, so we can look at that data in a deeper level. So Michelle's bringing that up for us. So the Oregon school report cards, the one we're looking at today is called At a Glance. So it's a way to bring that data up front for us to look at in a quick glance. They are, go ahead, the next. So there is the district report card, which gives a summary of our district data, as well as school report cards. There's one design that is elementary and middle school and another for high school. Phoenix and Roseburg High School are all included within our district. So let's look at the district one more in depth. So you'll find on the left-hand side, there is a bar which talks about the students we serve. Within this bar, the next one, you'll find information on the number of kids that are enrolled in our school, the teacher and student demographics. So who are the kids and the staff we're serving? We look at the percentage of our students who are ever language learners, that the number of languages are spoken. We look at the percentage of students who receive special education services, that are mobile within communities and receive free reduced lunch. Our free reduced lunch will be a bit different this year because we've been under a community provision, which means that most of our students, our schools are designated 100% free, receiving free and reduced lunch. So you'll see that it looks, the data is a little different right now because of that. Even if a school does not meet a 95th percentile, it will still could say it's above 95th because of that community provision that it's helped us provide the food to our students at no cost. So that's in the students we serve. Then you'll also see that there's an area that talks about regular attenders. So you heard Katrina talk tonight about the importance of that 90% threshold. That 90% is that mark that we know makes a difference in the student learning. When they drop below that 90% of days, we start seeing that impact them at a much higher level. So we measure by that. If you show the next one, when we look deeper at that, you'll see within that circle there's a gray circle on the outside, which will give us a state average. So we can compare it to where the state is. And the attendance is something we've seen as a concern across our state. So it's nice to see where that compares to. And then there'll be a colored bar, which shows our regular attenders, which are above 90%. You also will notice that there's an arrow there, and that's added this year as a new marker. We can see if we're trending up or down or staying the same, which is nice for us as we don't have to pull out last year's report card to compare to where we're at. We can see where we're trending. In addition to that, on the right side, so the next slide, we'll see academic success. In the district report card, it's measured by third grade English language arts. Now we know that we measure like English language arts beyond third grade, but that's the one that's marked in our district report card. And then also 8th grade mathematics. So those two are on the district report card, but we will look, each school has that information as well. Then below that, we'll see high school success information on district report card. We'll see the on track to graduate. What that is measured by is the number of students in 9th grade that meet more than 6 or more credits. We know that how students perform in 9th grade is a huge indicator of graduation. Is almost identical, the number of students who are on track in 9th grade that graduate within 4 years on time. So that's a big marker, and we pay pretty close attention to that, and something we strive to have that strong start that first year of high school. Then the next to that is on-time graduation. So we also measure the number of students who graduate within that 4-year period. In addition to that, you can see the 5-year completer. And the 5-year completer also includes students who receive a GED or who may take more than 4 years to graduate, which I think is an important mark. Sometimes it may be something happened with a student's life, COVID hit, there may be a family issue, something occurred. So we look at that 5-year completer also in addition to that on-time graduation. Most of the time you're going to hear people talk about the graduation rate within that 4-year, but I think it's also important that we look at that 5-year too. So that's on the front. Then you'll see below there is some information that we provide, and I think Michelle has entered data into there, which talks about our school and state goals. On the back side, there's even more information. So we find out about our district, how many administrators, teachers, educational assistants, counselors, social workers, librarians, school psychologists, and the years of teacher experience. And that's one to pay attention to because we see this turnover. And so it's important for us to look at that longevity of our teachers and keeping them with us more than 3 years as we train them, they get used to our systems, they become familiar with our curriculum. That's a bonus to us. So we pay attention to that as well. Then over on the right-hand side, it takes all that information that we talked about on the front and breaks it down into categories. Maybe students who receive special education services, maybe by race. There's a lot of information that it breaks it down there. So that's the district one. Then in addition to that, we'll see school report cards. And school report cards are set up elementary and middle, and then the high school. And there's some similarities to the district, but there's some differences as well. So you can see on the right-hand side looks very similar. has the same type of information around the students we serve. So we talk about the number of students within that school. And then on the right-hand side, in addition to the regular attendees for the school, you also see class size, which is something we've talked about within our district. So we pay attention to that. And then below that, you'll see information around English language arts, mathematics, and science. Now, the science wasn't on the district report card, but it is on our school report cards. Below that, information on school goals, state goals, and that safe and welcoming environment. The back also, over the high school one, similar class size, regular attenders, on track to graduate, which we talked about on the district and the ninth grade data, on-time graduation, 5-year completer, and then there's a college going, which we talk about the importance of students post-secondary education, moving beyond high school into a 2-year or 4-year college. But I think I would speak for the board and our community that we also know the importance of that workforce and students being ready to go into the workforce from high school with skills in welding or automotive or other skills as well. So this measures the college going, but I think the importance of students being prepared for that next step if it is going right into the workforce as well. Below that, also then on the report card, on the back side of that is similar information around number of teachers, educational assistants, and then it's broken down by smaller categories, this front, is similar to the others. And then below that will be information around goals that are there. So in an elementary middle, the leaders would talk about bullying, harassment, and safety policies, what extracurricular activities we offer, how we engage our parents, and how we engage our community. At the high school level, we add in the advanced coursework, CTE classes that we offer, so that career and technical education, that workforce, extracurricular activities, and then again, parent and community engagement. So you can see how there's some similarities but differences around that. So those are what we can expect to see within our report cards when they come out later this month. So we can expect them on October 26th, they'll come out, and we can send them to you all so you can have access to those and look through those. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have about that. We do distribute them to our families. We send them links, we put them on the report cards, and electronically they have access to them, but we also can have them access to our families through paper copies within our schools if they're interested in those. So we want this information to our families. There is additional information that comes in the form of an accountability detail sheet. So you know the amount of information that's on here. This additional sheets is packed with even more data that we can break down into it. But this gives us that at a glance data on our report cards. So we're anxious to get those and share those with you to see where we are this year. And then with the goals we've set and the plans we have to move forward, even more anxious to see the growth that we make throughout this year. If there's any questions, happy to answer. All right. Thank you.
Wow. I don't think you even come up for air.
No, I talk fast
no,
and I just can't change that.
It was great. Michael?
So when did you say ours would be available?
October 26th is the date they're released to the public.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move into superintendent report.
All right, thank you, Chair Cotton. A couple things before I begin. First of all, relative to, I appreciate the reports tonight and the meeting is celebrations for kids and families are always wonderful as well. A couple things before I jump into here for the board, relative to Dr. Weber's report, that we are expecting, we're expecting these next week, and that got postponed to the 26th. We're anticipating the 26th. On the district report card, important for the board to realize that Phoenix and their data will be commingled with our data and does have an impact on, we've kind of struggled with this just to be transparent around graduation rates. The high school, it shows up as a district graduations rate, so just know that. Let's see, Director Minor, you had a question on Division 22. I just want to make a comment on about accountability. We've ODE has a new state superintendent. The governor and the new state superintendent have talked quite a bit about accountability. And so I think we'll just have to, there's going to be increasing accountability. We're told that. So relative to Division 22, and it's just a balance, I think, that people are trying to strike between local control and also state control, something we'll have to keep an eye on. And then Director Leone, I would just say relative to your question about essential skills, Essential skills are effectively a legislative construct. And they are, in my opinion, academically or from a pedagogy and learning standpoint, effectively irrelevant. I would challenge the narrative that essential skills in some way makes a less rigorous education. It effectively is a legislative attempt to have a baseline. I'm proud of our schools that have raised the rigor in our classrooms. I've talked quite a bit about this, both in this meeting and many meetings I'm at, that when students walk across the stage and graduate from our schools, it means a lot. And I'm not talking about the feeling you get because you accomplished something, but the academic rigor required is in no way influenced by essential skills. I will have legislators call me and argue with me. I would welcome that conversation. It is a low bar. And if in order to get credit in our classes, you have to perform at a higher level than essential skills would require. And so the narrative, I think that I've heard about, I've heard this, there's been a lot of talk about this with Governor Brown was governor and the abolishment of essential skills. I would just say, go on the record to say in our schools, it's an irrelevant component and doesn't have to do with rigor. There's other ways to ensure rigor, and that's typically through credits and coursework. Okay, let me jump into a report tonight. I loved tonight that we could focus on kids and our staff. It's awesome. So good to see that back. We have incredible students. Our kids are great. We had a snapshot tonight. We could talk the whole night about the things our students are doing. I wrote a letter to the community recently about our kids and kids these days. The narrative around kids these days is just not accurate. Unless you get to know kids these days and you're like, dang, these kids are amazing. And they really are. Just a quick snapshot. This is one of 100 things I could have talked about tonight. I'll just mention a couple. We have 2 FFA groups that are heading to National FFA Convention back in the Midwest. We got Vet Science and our National Forestry team representing Roseburg and our state. We have the marching band at the high school, 120 kiddos. If you've never had a kid involved in marching band, it's a ton of work. I mean, I don't know how to really compare that. They're late nights, you work your tail off. But they had their highest earning score at a competition recently up in Salem. That was fantastic. Pacific Coast Invitational. We have quite a few students that are taking classes in technical education, and we had 65 kids head down to the Career Expo. Many employers who are interested in our kids, like, when can you start working? I'm saying, wait, they're going to graduate first. Don't take them yet. Sylvia, who is here tonight, our ASB vice president, was Oregon's OSWA Student Athlete of the Week recently, 2 weeks ago, I think. Good example. She's great on the track, but she also has a 4-point GPA, coursework, and good example of what we see with our kids. Also important to recognize, we have over 300 kids that are participating in just athletics. That number could be double when we look at activities. The combined GPA for fall varsity athletes, 3.56. Lots to be excited about. Kids doing well on the field and also in the classroom. So we're super excited and grateful for our students. We have great principals as well. We have National Principals Month, and wanted to say thank you to all of our building leaders. Being a building leader in our school district, we have some principals here we could ask. It's not easy. The principalship's not easy, period. Legislatively, you have local parentis, which means you become the parent of hundreds, maybe 1,000 or more students, and you're responsible for their care and their support. You're responsible for their instruction. That means differentiating for them. You're responsible for the content, responsible for keeping up with all the things I come up with, which is work in itself. There's a high demand of our principals. And I'm grateful for them. And so thank you to our principals who are supporting our staff and our parents and our community and our students. And I want say thank you to all principals, particularly the ones that we work most closely with here in our school district. We have incredible staff across our organization, and I really appreciate the proclamation tonight that talks about the fact that our schools are really the backbone of democracy and our future economy. I've often said public schools are really a form of not just a form of democracy, but it's not just a social machine, but it's a machine of economics and really the future of our country. And we have people that work in all facets in our organization, from we heard tonight, preparing food to make sure kids can have breakfast in the morning. People in our classrooms that are working hard, people in our offices that have tremendous responsibilities to make sure they know our students and who's, what they need and what medications they need. And as I look sometimes at how complex schools have become, we're an organization that really is trying to pick up where a lot of organizations haven't. And at the end of the day, our schools have a lot of responsibilities, increasing responsibilities. Medication distributions, one's been on my mind recently. Why it seems like, I won't go on my soapbox tonight, but maybe a little bit. You have organizations that say you need to do this, but who effectively does that? It becomes the school who does many, many, many things to keep kids safe. What we ask our staff to do is not what I necessarily did as a classroom teacher years ago. And so I want to thank our school team. That's all of our staff, our classified licensed staff, our administrators, our confidential employees. We do have bargaining coming up, and I think this will be a really important time to make sure that our organization, our expectations and our appreciations reflected in the way that our employees feel. I talked about at the beginning of the year, this needs to be an organization where people buy, they don't rent. It needs to be an organization where people say, I need to get there, I want to get there. And we're hoping that that process will ensure that we can not just retain, but recruit the best people in the industry. You heard tonight about continuous improvement plans. I would just say that there's many things that we need to improve as a school district. There's a lot of things we're doing well, but there's a lot of things that we need to get better at. And I love the fact that as an organization, we're embracing that. We're having courageous conversations. We're facing that directly. We're being transparent. I've been very transparent with my team, our leadership team, our principals and others about things that we will improve on, that we're going to improve on. In order to do this, all facets of organization, from maintenance and custodial to business office, the superintendent's office, the teaching and learning, all have to be focused on supporting this plan. Everyone, I talked about at the beginning of the year, I continue to talk about that, the JFK analogy. Every individual in our organization, including really our parents and students, need to understand that we're serious about care and support and instruction and graduation. So what you'll see is every school and district department has submitted to me a continuous improvement plan. It is aligned to our strategic goals and our integrated guidance. You heard tonight from Katrina, I appreciate that. Every organization is setting, whether they're in a school or department, their goals to improve this plan. And I'm excited about that. I appreciate people's commitment to that. We will move things forward. There's an interesting quote that I like. If you focus on results, you don't get change. But if you focus on change, you get results. And we're approaching this from how do we change some of the things that we're doing? How do we change the supports we're giving people? How do we organize a little differently? We will see upward momentum. I'm excited about the work we're doing there. Another quick update for you is exciting one. We talk a lot about career technical education. I want to give you an update on P20 pathways. So that's preschool through post-secondary. So I've talked about this partnership with Umpqua Community College. I'll mention this tonight. Some really great work is happening here. We are working closely with the college on developing career pathways and really making the pathway more visible for students. We have pathways right now in advanced healthcare, advanced manufacturing, elementary education, and first responder pathways right now. This is going to be, I think, transformational for our students and families. And I'll give you one example. We've been excited about the CNA pathway, and it's been really great for our students to be able to get some certifications while they're in high school. We've talked about dual credit enrollment, all that's in here. I'll just pick on one with allied health, and that's around advanced healthcare. We're developing a pathway there. Let's use this as an example where students would enroll in a pathway in the high school. Students would actually do a dual enrollment with the college. What this would mean is they would be a high school student at RHS, but they would actually also enroll at UCC, and they would also enroll at OHSU. It would be a dual enrollment. So what happened there is they're going to work through some coursework, and we're in the process of working on these pathways right now, where they would work and get their LPN, and they would matriculate automatically to the college, where they would have automatic seats in the nursing program. In a year and about 9 months, it could be less with the LPN program, they would sit for their boards at about 20 years old to become an RN, and the rate of that's high. Most of the students will do that. They would then earn to learn in a local job as an RN in our community, whether that be at the Mercy or Aviva or Evergreen. They would get paid, and they can earn their bachelor's degree while at UCC because they're co-enrolled at OHSU. So what the pathway, to give an idea what these will look like, is we'll have students at maybe 11th grade that are saying, I'm interested in this career pathway, that could ideally graduate with at 21 or 22 as a registered nurse with potentially no debt from OHSU and be working in our community. So it is remarkable. It fills, we talk sometimes about attendance, like the things we want to do about attendance. With our high school students, for the most part, when they see the relevance of being there, there's quite a bit of data around CTE, around around graduation rates and attendance rates with career technical education. If you love to weld and you get to weld every day, you find a way to get to school. The career pathways will be revolutionary for students that see a pathway for a high wage, high demand job to stay in the community. And we're building these out in these areas this year. And what's great about this too is industry leaders are helping guide the process. So we're going to them and saying, where do you need to be next year and 2 years and 3 years? And they're helping with some of the coursework. So this is exciting update for I think for our community generally, and certainly for industry, who is now seeing the schools as a pipeline for high quality employees. And heck, we've got great kids, and they can definitely fill these positions. The last slide here is, I just want to say thank you to the board. Nothing, it's hard to imagine the momentum in an organization moving when the board of directors is not behind and leading the movement. I just want to say thank you for the leadership of the board. I say this often, and I mean this. Without the board's support and direction, we wouldn't have the momentum we need to sustain where we're going to go. And so thank you for your vision. Thank you for your unrelenting expectation around care, support, and instruction, and graduation. Thanks for making sure that our kids do feel like they're heard and seen, that they can go home happy and proud. And thank you for the focus you have on the whole child. And so with that, that concludes my presentation. I can answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Okay. We're going to move into the most important part of the last part of the meeting. Board of Education reports, individual reports. Director Shirtwell.
I have nothing to report this evening.
I really loved the tour and was very inspired by the principal's opening statements that she does with all of the kids in the morning and the affirmations. Was great. I loved seeing Sylvia here. We are neighbors, and when she was very little, she and her sister came knocking on the door, you know, wanting a job. And so we hired them. And so it's just great to see her blossom and be successful on so many fronts.
Yeah, I also enjoyed the tour, obviously, and the lost and found is very unique.
I was just impressed with all the, you know, the students that won the awards and how we celebrated them. And then how we celebrated the teachers for the work that they're doing. That was really exciting and inspiring for me. What you were just saying about what we're doing with UCC is amazing. That's going to change that's going to change our whole community in some big ways. Instead of our young people, you know, going to high school and then leaving and, you know, leaving our community, which is just an awesome community. This will keep a lot of them here, growing this community. So that's pretty exciting stuff. So thanks.
Thank you, Chair Cotton. At this time, I have nothing to share that will add or subtract from our strategic plan, and nothing that will benefit the students.
Well, once again, thank you to your staff and you know, as I've said, we really have a great school district. We really do. We have wonderful staff members and it's meetings like this that we get the information out. So I thank you. I wanted to just take a minute before we close. You're getting a handout. This is concerning House Bill 2753. This is the bill that was ramrodded, in my opinion, towards the end of the session on stipends for school board members. And it was poorly put together. And so we did get a from the ethics ruling. The ethic commission did a ruling and said basically they said it's a lousy bill. And so Howard, Director Johnson, and Director Minor, and myself, the vice chair, the chair, and Director Minor is our mentor, and actually she's starting to mentor us. That's what it should be. So she's doing wonderful. But we met, and at the end of that discussion, and I've talked to board members, I felt that the best thing to do is not to even bring this forward until it's been cleaned up. And so the legislature will meet, I think, February. And then once it's all cleaned up, then we'll have that discussion. So it's just they're just recommending just don't do anything with it right now. So that's what we're going to do. If that's okay with the board, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Next meeting is in 2 weeks. Work session will be at the district office. And so if there's no further business, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.